Welcome back to FM Story. In the last episode, we started season 7. We didn't have the best start to the season. We've currently lost 3 out of 6 league games so far this season, but we have already played Barcelona and Real Madrid both away. We lost both of those games 4-1, and we've had our customary loss against Rayo Vallecano, which we seem to have had. I think that's 6 out of the last 7 we've lost against them now. But we have managed to pick up a win in the Champions League against RB Salzburg. So hopefully now that we've got a slightly easier run of fixtures, we can push on and jump ourselves up the league table. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. We've made it to the beginning of November. As you can see, we've got a pretty big game coming up in the Champions League against Galatasaray. October started as a pretty good month and then ended pretty badly. So we started with a comfortable 5-0 win against Real Sporting. Got off to a really quick start with 3 goals in the first 16 minutes, 4-0 up at half time, and then Pablo Yaregi came off the bench to add a goal late on to just give us the 5-0 victory. We then followed that up with a 3-0 win against Granada, where we really struggled to do an awful lot early on. I mean, if you look at the XG, we had chances, but obviously not very good chances. But then once we got the penalty and Nico Williams took that away, the floodgates opened a bit, and we ran out comfortable 3-0 victors. We then took on Celtic in the Champions League, and given how he'd performed when he came off the bench, we brought Pablo Yaregi into the starting lineup to play on the right-hand side, and he responded with getting assists for both goals. In the end, it was a pretty comfortable victory. They didn't really create an awful lot, didn't show an awful lot going forward, and that gave us back-to-back wins in the Champions League. We then followed that up with a trip to Villarreal, who were sitting second in the league at that point in time, and another comfortable victory. They had more chances than Celtic did. They also had a goal to Slav late on from our former player Moncayola. But again, Yaregi had come into the team. He kept his place in the team and really performed well, picking up a goal and an assist. At this point, everything was looking rosy and we were doing quite well. Then we travelled to Real Zaragoza and somehow ended up with a 2-2 draw. We went behind early on, but equalised. They went ahead just before half-time. At that point, it was a fairly even game. We took over a lot more in the second half and had 2 goals disallowed. It looked all lost when they got a penalty in the 84th minute, but Kepa turned up with a really good save, and then we were able to go up the other end, and David Uranga had come off the bench and was able to tap in after the keeper saved a header from Robin Lenormand to give us the 2-2 draw. But really, we dominated the game, just didn't take the chances that we should have done, which was a similar tale for the next game against Elche, where we went 1-0 behind and just created chance after chance. Didn't take them, and probably one of our poorest. Honestly, we probably played worse in this game than either of the games against Barcelona and Real Madrid, where we lost 4-1, in terms of just a real lack of quality and also just missing the target quite a lot as well. And even the ones that were on target were basically straight at the keeper. Obviously, there's going to be work to do going into November. What it means in terms of the league is that we're currently sat in 5th place, which isn't too bad on 19 points. We could be a lot worse than where we are. Nico Williams is still top scorer, but we really have struggled a bit in the last 2 games in particular for goals. In terms of the squad, we are starting to struggle with a few injuries. So Unai Jimenez is injured now and out for a couple of weeks. Javi Lopez is not back in full training for 6 days, so we don't really have an out-and-out left back. Zubimendi's out for another 2 weeks. And then Nico Vallejo, who we always could rely on to come off the bench and create something, broke his ankle playing for Spain under-19s. So he's still going to be out for another 2 months. We've had some players come in and play really well for a game and then just not kind of had any consistency. With the injury to Zubimendi, we might have to move Guillamon back into the midfield and bring Sola back in at right back. But we'll have to see how things go. In terms of the Champions League, we're currently sat in 12th with 6 points from 3 games. So hopefully we can pick up a win against Galatasaray. And that should stand us in a good stead. If we've got 9 points after 4, we should be in a pretty good position to at least make the playoff round, if not sort of launch an assault on being in the top 8. Going into the Galatasaray game, we've brought Sola back in a right back, which has meant Guillamon can move back into the defensive midfield role. Because of Javi Lopez not being anywhere near fit and Ibanez being injured, Ayman Montero's having to step in at left back. We've kept Jauregui wide right. We've moved Nico Williams back through the middle, which gives us a chance to bring Nico Serrano back into the team. Home game, so if we can get off to a good start. Concerns just slightly that left back position, just because he's out of position up against Adam Unas. Hopefully we should have enough to see them off, although it's going to need a big step up in performance from those last 2 league games. Well, I mean, that was truly bizarre on 2 points. It's a truly bizarre free kick because Nico Serrano was never getting the ball. But then incredibly bad defending to let Nico Serrano get the ball. So Nico Serrano's never getting there. And the defender just stands on it and tries to take him on. And then Nico Williams beats the keeper at the near post. I mean, all in all, a pretty good first half. I mean, it was quite quiet for that first half hour. But I mean, we've dominated possession, we've dominated chances, we've dominated XG. And unlike in the last couple of league games, we've at least picked up a couple of goals to go along with that as well. Uranga, Ribeiro. Oh. Pascual to Uranga. What a ball. He's got to score. Una Ribeiro's had a couple of decent games recently. Coming off the bench. He just prods it past the keeper. Nico Serrano, Ribeiro. What a goal. What a finish that is. I mean, given how long that highlight went on, it had to be a goal for one side or the other. But Duarte wins the header. Nico Serrano through to Unai Ribeiro. One touch. Smashes it. And really, the keeper should have probably saved it. I think I would have been throwing things if that was my keeper that had let that in. I mean, considering he would have preferred to stay on the bench, I guess he's probably a bit happier now that he's come on. What on earth was that? Like, yeah, Uranga was pressuring the defender, but not really. But no one's pressuring the keeper apart from the defender. All in all, a pretty decent performance that. Certainly a big one to bounce back from the last couple of league performances. Really dominated the game. Didn't look under any real threat. And everyone that we brought into the team to start, the Nico Serranos, Alex Solas, all performed well. Nico Williams did well through the middle as well. And Nico Serrano was actually outstanding when considering he's been very much in and out this season. But yeah, something hopefully to build on. We've made it to the end of November. We've got one game left in November. That one you can see there again, coming up at home against Real Valladolid. Obviously, we should pick up a victory there. We have managed to kind of capitalise on the upturn in form, as emphasised by that game against Galatasaray. We have only conceded one goal so far in November. Unfortunately, it led to us losing 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. But things have been promising. So hot off the 5-0 victory against Galatasaray, we beat Real Betis 5-0. Comfortable victory. Inaki Williams had come into the team and did well. Juan Guerrero was the star sort of performer. And really, it was a solid performance. We maybe just got a bit lucky if you look at the XG. I mean, that our XG was 1.18, yet we scored 5. But overall, decent performance. We weren't really in any sort of doubt of winning, and like you can probably see why the XG was so low, because Juan Guerrero scored from there and there, and Inaki Williams scored from the edge of the area there. There was a couple of closer in goals, but we did have a few long range efforts in that game. Then we went away to Atletico Madrid and really just did not perform whatsoever. And we went through the whole 90 minutes without testing their keeper. 5 shots, none of them on target. Just a really unacceptable performance. And only Unai Jimenez came out of the game with any kind of credit. But we were able to get straight back on things by going away to Dino Kiev and winning 4-0 in the Champions League. We were really solid defensively, didn't really let them have many chances, and basically took some of our chances when they came along. We did have a goal disallowed, but Nico Williams got a double, and then Daniel Rodriguez, after he came off the bench, got a double as well. And that puts us in a decent position in the Champions League. We'll have a look at the table in a second, just for where we're at in terms of the league phase. And then the most recent game was a 1-0 win. The most recent game was a 1-0 win away against Almeria. Now, really, it was a bizarre game. We had a lot less possession, a lot less shots. Although we were better on the XG, we didn't really perform. I mean, we've had the likes of Daniel Rodriguez come in and play really well for a game and then come in and do nothing the next game, and it's quite a common thing. Just while we're on Almeria, it is one of the weirdest teams. You've got Pogba playing wide left. You've got Villalba, who scored 50 goals 2 seasons in a row for us and then stopped scoring. You've got Lorenzo Luca. You've got Connor Roberts and Hayden Roberts. It's like the most bizarre collection of players. Every time we come up against them, there's always someone else new that just is a real strange mix. But we were able to nick the 1-0 victory and sort of carry on the decent run we were on. So as far as the league's concerned, we are sitting in 7th at the minute on 25 points. We have played a game less than most of the teams above us. There's only Valencia and Sociedad around us who haven't played 15 games yet this season. There's a bit of a gap starting to develop to the top 4. Hopefully, if we can pick up a victory that kind of closes it down a bit, if we win this game against Valladolid, it sort of reduces the gap to the top 4 down to 4 points. But Real Madrid are already 15 points ahead of us. Barcelona are already 10 points ahead of us. So we're going to need to less of the performances against Atletico Madrid. it just came from nowhere. When you look at the form on the side of it, it was a really poor performance. And then as far as the Champions League phase is concerned, that's all looking pretty good at the moment. We're currently sat ninth, missing out on this bizarre head-to-head thing. Although now it's changed because it was in the previous after the previous lot of games, Man United had played 2 games and won and lost one, and someone else had played another game, and it was all kind of a bit weird. There was about 4 or 5 teams that played games. We'd only played against one, yet we were bottom. I mean, so obviously we're bottom of that head-to-head because we played Man United, but we've not played Bayern Munich, we've not played Inter, we've not played Sociedad, we've not played Leipzig. So quite how head-to-head can work for that. Obviously, SI don't know what UEFA are going to do yet, especially when you look at the goal difference. I mean, we've got a plus 13 goal difference, so we've got a much better goal difference than Leipzig, Sociedad, Inter and Bayern, who we haven't played yet because we lost to Man United. We're below those 4 teams. It doesn't seem quite right, but there's at least another 3 games left, so we'll find out where we are at the end of after the 8th game, and it should be enough now to see us into the knockout stage, at least into the playoff round at the very least. Going into the game against Valladolid, we have made a couple of changes. So we've brought Javier Lopez back in at left back. He had been out through injury, so Jimenez drops to the bench. We're going to continue with Inaki Williams wide left. We brought Guerrero back in for Daniel Rodriguez. Nico Williams has dropped down to the right-hand side, and Unai Ribeiro's coming up front. So hopefully he can put in a decent performance because he's been making his mouth go about wanting first team football. A home game against a team that are 16th in the table really should be winning this pretty comfortably. So hopefully we can get off to a decent quick start. Right. Julian John Guerrero with a free kick. Can we get on the end of it in the box? No. And now we've nicked it back. It's a lovely finish, but I think Unai Ribeiro was probably offside. It looked like Unai Ribeiro was coming back from an offside position, but even if he was, Inaki Williams bent that into the top corner. Isn't working. Oh my god. Where was the defence? Like, how did he get clear? And then what did the keeper do? How did that go? I've got deflection. Come on, not another one. Ball over the top and we've been caught out again. Right. Come on. All of these players are doing well when they come off the bench. But you put any of them in the starting lineup and they don't do anything to cement their position in the team. Oh my god. I had visions of that being a penalty. So I don't understand how we nearly lost that game. Like, if you look at all the stats, they had 1 shot on target into the goal. Why can't we have games like that? I suppose at least we didn't lose the game. It's the one positive to take from that one. And that's the end of this episode. A couple of disappointing spells of performances, but overall we're doing pretty well. We're doing certainly a lot better than expected in the Champions League. So hopefully we can keep on keeping on. Find out how we get on, see if we can qualify out the Champions League, and we'll see you next time.